terror doctors in the U.S., how close they came and what they may have been planning. They are accused of trying to set off bombs in Britain. And now it looks like they may have also been setting their sights on the United States. Tonight, the word from the FBI. Releasing records of sex. The accused D.C. madam is cleared to name names. Rich and powerful, consider yourselves warned. He walked into a casino and started shooting.
I was hiding behind a machine on the ground, scared out of my mind, kind of hyperventilating, you know, kind of like, I'm going to die here.
Tonight, bullets and blackjack. Wild chases. One suspect trades in his car for something a little slower. And driving drunk at 100 miles an hour.
She left the road here. She went airborne.
Busy day for an 11-year-old girl. And she had drugs in her system and kids on her school bus. Now an emotional showdown with the young victims. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lori Dew in for Shepard Smith tonight. And we begin the show with word of the terror suspects' plans to come to the United States. We've now learned that 2 of the doctors arrested in the failed British bombings took preliminary steps toward applying for medical programs in this country. And that's not all. We're also learning of a possible motive why one of the suspects may have been angry enough to kill. Rick Leventhal in London will have more on that in just a moment, but we begin our Team Fox coverage tonight with Catherine Herridge in Washington. Catherine.
Now, Lori, federal law enforcement sources confirmed to Fox that there is now a significant connection between the UK plot and the U.S. Sources tell Fox that 2 of the 8 suspects contacted a group in Philadelphia about coming to the States to continue their medical studies. This week, the FBI visited the Philadelphia headquarters of the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. It's a clearinghouse that deals with foreign-trained doctors who want to certify their qualifications to work or study in this country. A spokesman for the Educational Commission would not comment directly on the FBI investigation, but told Fox that the certification process takes years to complete, not months, adding that it's highly competitive with far more applicants than residency openings. One of the doctors who approached the school is identified as Mohammed Asha, a 26-year-old neurologist from Jordan who was arrested last weekend, along with his wife Marwa. Asha contacted the group in Philadelphia within the last year, but federal law enforcement does not believe his efforts to enter the U.S. got very far.
We have been worried about people who take flight instructions, but it turns out we have to have a much broader concern here, both professional and unprofessional people coming to the United States, particularly from groups or countries where there's increased hostility towards the United States.
U.S. officials tell Fox they would not be surprised if a link is also found to al-Qaeda in Iraq, though they say it's too early in the case to draw any conclusions. As for screening foreign doctors entering the U.S., a Homeland Security official said no changes are being made at this time, adding that there are several layers of screening in place. Lori.
All right, Catherine Herridge, thank you. New information tonight about the man at the center of the British bomb plot. The accused ringleader Bilal Abdullah published reports today suggesting his motive may have been money. It seems Abdullah's family in Iraq used to have a great deal of wealth and power, but once the U.S. invaded, all that changed. Rick Leventhal with the news tonight live in London. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Lori. Well, when Bilal Abdullah was a student in Cambridge and in Baghdad, fellow classmates reportedly kept their distance. He was considered an intense militant Muslim, a Sunni extremist who allegedly kept videos of former al-Qaeda leader Abu Musab al-Zarqawi and was very angry about the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq. His family reportedly owns significant property in the Anbar province, buildings and businesses severely damaged or destroyed during the war, and he wanted revenge, according to former colleagues, supporting the insurgency in Iraq, cheering the deaths of British and American troops. Some believe he masterminded the alleged cell of terrorist physicians here, planning, building, and attempting to detonate the nails and gasoline car bombs in Piccadilly last Friday, then driving that flaming Jeep into Glasgow airport with a conspirator Saturday when he felt the cops were closing in. After the crash, arriving officers say he threw punches and tried to keep them away from the Jeep, apparently hoping it would blow up before the fire could be extinguished. Abdullah is now charged with conspiracy to cause explosions in connection with the failed car bomb attacks. 7 other suspects remain in custody but haven't yet been charged, including the badly burned driver of that Jeep. Abdullah's first appearance in court is set for tomorrow, Lori, and we will be there.
All right, Rick Leventhal in London. Thank you, Rick. A warning that hundreds will die at the world's biggest investment firm. The FBI is investigating anonymous threats made against Goldman Sachs. Letters were mailed to 20 different newspapers around the country saying, quote, "We are already inside." The handwritten letters are signed AQ USA, but one investigator tells the Associated Press the threat does not seem that credible. Goldman Sachs is headquartered in New York, but has offices all around the world. Fears that someone is hoarding material for dirty bombs, as Fox reports tonight. Canadian news outlets reporting that dozens of radioactive devices have simply disappeared in the country in recent years. The material is reportedly used in everything from medical research to measuring oil wells. Canadian press says at least 76 radioactive devices have disappeared in the last 5 years. Breaking news now, as Fox reports tonight, you are taking a live look at Houston, where extreme weather continues in that state as we look at some pretty heavy-duty flooding right at the peak of rush hour tonight. Also heavy, bad weather in eastern Texas. Another round of severe, heavy rain is causing a lot of troubles. With rivers and lakes already topped off, emergency officials are bracing for more of the flooding that has damaged or destroyed at least 1,000 homes and left 13 people dead. Plus, we've got record heat in the west that just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Rick Reichmuth live tonight in the very busy Fox Weather Center. Hi, Rick.
Hey, you said it. You know, Houston really got pummeled by just one line of storms that lined up right across the area and brought the rain. Not widespread rain across parts of Texas. I'll show you more about that in a second. Head out across parts of the southwest and really all of the west dealing with the extreme heat. The next couple of days in Bullhead City, Arizona, still extremely warm, but these are not temperatures that you're not used to dealing with really all across the Colorado River Valley. That's just here the border between Arizona and Nevada and into Colorado. This is where the excessive heat warnings are in effect, and we're going to see a bit of a break over the next couple of days, actually. The high pressure that's been bringing all of us warm temperatures beginning to kind of lessen just a little bit and weaken. What it is doing, though, is kind of kicking in some of the monsoonal moisture. Wouldn't necessarily call it monsoonal moisture yet. That just means we get a change in our wind patterns. We're not quite there yet, but we are starting to see a little bit of moisture pull in, and some of the mountainous areas seeing some showers and some thunderstorms. The unfortunate part with this is you can get some lightning across the area, and that can bring the threat for some more fires. Now, for tomorrow, that heat that's been across the northwest and much of the west pulls in across the central plains. So expect your temperatures for much of the Dakotas into Minnesota, Nebraska, and Kansas in towards those mid to upper 90s. So extreme warm temperatures there. And then, Lori, we've been so concerned about much of the areas of Texas. Well, look at this. Finally, we see some improvement. A few more showers Saturday and Sunday. Then I think we're going to see some more sunshine pulling in for Monday and much of this coming week. Very good news across much of Texas. Lori.
Ooh, sure is. Okay, Rick, thanks very much for that. As Rick was just saying, there has been no relief thus far from that brutal heat wave in the west, though temperatures may be cooling off in the next few days, but so far they've been hitting the triple digits from Arizona to Idaho, and one of the hottest spots is, appropriately enough, perhaps Sin City, and that's where our William Lajeunesse has been standing by for us live all day. And William, I see you lost that polyester Elvis jacket you had on earlier.
You know, don't you miss that? I had to give it back to Mr. Hemmer. But as you mentioned, the city is jammed right now because Saturday is 7707. That is considered a very lucky day. So you have thousands of couples descending on the city on short notice to get married. And I'm at one of those chapels right now, but the Weather Service just did issue an alert short time ago for temperatures of extreme heat. 115 degrees today in Vegas. That's 2 degrees off the record. Now, because this heat stretches over 7 states, there's very little excess capacity in the electrical grid to cover any spikes. Last year's triple-digit temperatures killed more than 100 people, but this year's cities have opened cooling centers. They're very popular. Seniors who are playing bridge and bingo to stay cool. What's saving us right now, it is still a holiday week, so consumption is not as bad as it could be. It is making, however, other problems worse. The drought, San Diego's asked people there to conserve water, and firefighters are one spark away from a catastrophic fire. They're praying for cooler temperatures.
It drains you. You notice it when you go home. You're a little more tired than usual. but it's not that bad. Just keep hydrated.
Now, still, people are headed to the rivers and lakes. In Southern California, Beach is expected to see about 30,000 people a mile this weekend. In Vegas, the tourists, many here to get married, are hitting the pools. While they aren't betting on the heat, well, they say this will give them something to remember.
Just dry, raspy throat, sinuses, like very dry.
It's pretty intense. I went to the convenience store and I thought I was going to pass out just walking across the street.
That couple was here for the first time from Rhode Island. They are among the 38,000 couples, Lori, that expect to get married this weekend. That is up from about 12,000 on a typical July Saturday. Back to you.
All right, good thing you're not performing those ceremonies. Thanks a lot, William. Well, some not so funny news also happening there in Las Vegas. Somebody opened fire inside a casino. Police say a man armed with a handgun started taking shots at random people overnight inside the New York casino. They tell us he was firing from a balcony above the casino floor. Off-duty military reservists eventually tackled the guy, but not before 5 people were hurt and many others understandably shaken up.
I was hiding behind a machine on the ground, scared out of my mind, kind of hyperventilating, you know, kind of like, I'm going to die here, you know, I don't know what's going to happen here. And then when I heard her, I went towards her and crawled over to her, but we still stayed hidden behind the machines, and people started crowding around us to see if she was going to be okay. She was freaking out.
No word on what exactly set the guy off. She's accused of getting high, getting on a school bus, and getting into a major accident. Now, those who will live forever with the consequences of this bus driver's actions get a chance to confront her in court. That's coming up next.
When it's people who do the right thing, they call it being responsible. When it's an insurance company, they call it Liberty Mutual. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual.
You've just won $10 million in the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Would you like to be a Publishers Clearinghouse winner tomorrow?
I can't believe it!
Now you can, because there's a new winner every day.
I can't believe I won!
You could even win the big one, $10 million.
Thank y'all so much.
Go to PCH.com, enter today, win tomorrow.
I didn't think this was real.
Or watch your mail.
Yeah, girl, they're here.
Enter today, and our next $10 million winner could be you.
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Barb.
Bob.
Jen, Mike.
Remember their names? If not, try new Vital and Sharp Mind from Bayer Nutritional Science. It supports memory and healthy brain function with ginkgo and omega-3. Bayer Nutritional Science. How vital do you want to be?
I know where he's heading. Don't worry, I'll be there.
Now playing at CDU.com.
Does God really exist?
I can't prove to you that Jesus is God, but you can't prove to me that Jesus is not.
It's the divinity debate you have to see. Plus, illegals flood the border daily. Will banning businesses from hiring them turn the tide back south? Tonight on The Factor.
On the defense, securing our airports, bridges, and even borders. What's the cost of protecting America? Plus, bills on board. Mr. Clinton's hitting the campaign trail and helping Hillary win over Wall Street. Will it work? The cost of freedom. Weekends. Don't miss a moment.
A judge in Kentucky sentencing a former school bus driver to 22 years in prison for taking cocaine, marijuana, and tranquilizers before crashing a bus filled with children. The crash last January injured 17 middle school students, sending 2 of them to the hospital. In court, before the sentencing, some of the students spoke out.
Look what you did to me. I mean, because you had to take your dang drugs.
At the very last minute, the driver tried to take back her guilty plea, claiming she only had trace amounts of the drugs in her system, but the judge interrupted her to impose that 22-year sentence. They didn't know it when they started, but the officers involved in this high-speed chase in Alabama ended up going after an 11-year-old girl. Even more amazing, cops say she was drunk at the time. An officer saw the Chevy Monte Carlo speeding through a beach resort And when he tried to pull it over, the girl hit the gas. She didn't stop until she rolled the car right off the road.
She left the road here. She went airborne. She didn't come down, she hit that fire hydrant. They just put it back up. And she knocked the two palms down, and it rolled and then come right back up against those dead palms.
Unbelievably, the 11-year-old girl only had a couple of minor injuries, but she is looking at some very grown-up charges, including DUI and reckless endangerment. Hours are ticking away as the search for a missing girl continues in Washington state. Tacoma police have issued an Amber Alert for 12-year-old Zena Linick. She disappeared almost 2 full days ago, and police have good reason to think that she was indeed kidnapped. Their best hope right now, just a few small leads. Dan Springer is live in our Seattle newsroom with the latest on the search for Zena. So what is the latest, Dan?
Well, Lori, they're very frustrated, Tacoma police are, by the lack of solid leads. They are pursuing this as a stranger abduction. They say that this girl is not likely someone who would run away, and there are no obvious problems in the family that would raise any red flags. Zena Linick was last seen Wednesday night at 9:45, just after she and her family got done watching fireworks outside their Tacoma, Washington home. She was sent to a nearby alley to see if anyone in the large family was left behind. And that's when her father heard a scream. He ran out of the house and saw a man in a dark gray van. And according to Zena's brother, he saw Zena being abducted.
Picked her up, threw her in the passenger seat in the front, and then the driver just ran to the driver's side, just sped off.
Zena is described as white, 4 feet 10 inches, 80 pounds. She has blonde hair that was pulled back into a ponytail. She was born in Ukraine, but according to police, she has lived most of her life in the U.S. and speaks English. She was last seen wearing a pink T-shirt, light-colored capri pants, and red flip-flop sandals. The van was an older model, kind of boxy gray van with square windows and with a Washington partial plate we know of 1677. There are dozens of local police and FBI agents working this case right now. They did canvass the area a second time, and they also looked at surveillance tapes at local restaurants, and they have come up with absolutely nothing. Lori?
Well, hopefully that'll change in the next few days. Dan Springer, thank you. Investigators in California are looking for a man they call a person of interest in the disappearance of a San Diego State student. Donna Joe has not been heard from since June 23rd. That's when her brother watched her getting on the back of a motorcycle driven by John Stephen Burgess. 19-year-old Joe met Burgess, this man, on the website Craigslist. Burgess is 35 years old and a registered sex offender. The two apparently went to a party together that night in June. It was the last time Joe's family had any contact with her. Well, someone is threatening to release pictures of Miss New Jersey, personal pictures she does not want out there. So what does she do? She fights back. We'll tell you how coming up.
America's best political coverage. This program is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Farmers get you back where you belong.
Still have the wind damage to your house on your mind? One call to Farmers Help Point could fix that. Farmers Help Point. Sanity makes a comeback.
Oh, good, you're home. What color should we go with? I'm leaning towards this one, but you know, this one's warmer, and I like that because it's sophisticated. And oh, I think that as an accent wall. Yes.
Trying to find the right color? The Home Depot can help you choose and coordinate beautifully. Right now, get $6 off 1-gallon cans and $25 off 5-gallon buckets of #1 rated Behr interior paint.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
I'm glad I thought of this.
Yeah.
Are you one of the millions of people struggling to learn a new language? Well, thanks to our breakthrough software called Rosetta Stone, learning a new language is now incredibly easy and a whole lot faster.
I probably learned more in the first 2 weeks than I have in months of taking formal classes.
Rosetta Stone is so fast and effective, it's used by the U.S. State Department, NASA, the FBI, and top Fortune 500 companies, and is the world's leading language learning software.
It's almost like having your own
person there teaching you, your own private tutor who is just very relaxed in your home with you, sitting there teaching you the language.
Rosetta Stone is the fastest way to learn a new language. And to prove it, we'll send you our amazing demo CD absolutely free when you call.
This really is a great program.
I believe that you can learn any language with this program.
So, call now and see for yourself why Rosetta Stone is the fastest way to learn a new language, guaranteed.
Introducing Payne's newest Vanishing Act.
New Icy Hot Vanishing Scent. Now the power of Icy Hot glides on icy to dull pain, then gets hot to relax it away, and the scent vanishes.
New Icy Hot Vanishing Scent. Make pain and scent a vanishing act.
A short movie U.S. debut. Go to channel 115 for the 9-minute movie.
Ditch the itch. Feel the heal. Shed the red. Feel the heal.
Cortisone 10 has the strongest itch relief medicine available without a prescription, plus 10 healing moisturizers to heal itchy, irritated skin fast.
So, ditch the itch.
And
feel the heal.
Cortisone 10.
She says it was a legal escort service. Prosecutors say it was a prostitution ring. Maybe now we could just ask her customers. A federal judge agreeing to let accused D.C. Madam Deborah Jane Palfrey release her client records. Palfrey says she has literally thousands of names of people who used her service. But Palfrey tells the New York Daily News she's only going to expose those customers who risked national security, violated the public trust, or were just plain hypocrites. List could be long. Blackmailing a beauty queen with compromising photos. Miss New Jersey, Amy Palumbo, saying she has received an anonymous threat that someone will release personal photos of her unless she gives up her crown. But Palumbo says she will not be victimized.
Yes, I could resign and allow this intruder into my life to prevail. But that will not happen. Not now, not ever.
Palumbo's family says the photos in question were posted on her Facebook internet page, and they are not nude, but they're private. Federal investigators outlining their case about an alleged dogfighting operation run out of a Virginia home owned by NFL quarterback Michael Vick. The court documents filed as agents returned to the property today. They reportedly say that dogfights have been going on at the site since at least 2002 and that they lasted for hours until one of the dogs either died or surrendered. Vick has denied any knowledge of all this and blames the family members who lived there for taking advantage of his generosity. Hot pursuit on two wheels in Phoenix. That's after a police car chase ended with the suspects running into an apartment complex. Then a TV helicopter spotted one of the guys trying to sneak out on his bicycle. Always a great idea. Well, as you can see, it didn't really work out so well for him. To make matters more embarrassing, the crime that he's wanted for, drum roll, mail theft. Arizona, a fire at a duplex construction site in Gilbert causing more than $1 million worth of destruction. One building destroyed and 3 others heavily damaged. Investigators now looking into whether this fire was connected to another one in Mesa that caused $600,000 in damage to 5 buildings. New York. Police in Suffolk County, Long Island are donating 445 bulletproof vests to the National Guard. The body armor is too old to still be used as vests, but it can be used to supplement the armor in vehicles and living quarters in Iraq. California. 3-year-old Spice is slowly recovering after spending 3 weeks locked in a shipping container. Her family moved from Hawaii to California and all their belongings, and even though they didn't know it, their cat went into the container. Spice lost half her body weight while inside that container. North Carolina. Alligators certainly aren't native to Catawba County, but that's where 3 kids found this one. The local rescue squad rounded up the gator. Wildlife officers say they're not sure what to do with it. If they release it, all the gator will do is grow to be about 12 feet long and become an even bigger problem. And that's a Fox Watch across America. If you want to be part of the Across America experience and show us what's going on in your part of the country, send us a U report. Just use your cell phone camera and email us your picture or video at ureport@foxnews.com or click on the U Report link at the bottom of foxnews.com. Joe Lieberman versus Iran. The longtime senator says Tehran is causing a lot of trouble for the United States, and he says it's time to do something about it. What he said next.
They never truly know.
Are you good?
The worry, the care, the obsession. They never truly know what it means to keep them safe. But we do. We're the car company with more 5-star crash test ratings than anybody in the country.
Oh, you drive. Are you kidding? Get in the car.
Introducing the all-new Ford Taurus, rated the safest full-size car in America.
2 days only at Joseph A. Bank. All signature suits, $2.99. That's every signature suit. Regularly $6.95 to $7.95, now $2.99. Plus summer suits, $99. And summer sport coats, only $99. How about thousands of bonuses like dress shirts, ties, sports shirts, and more? $19.99. Only at Joseph A. Bank. Now through Saturday.
People will do just about anything to keep from having to eat to get their fiber. That's why we've worked hard to develop things to help them. The famous fiber patch, that was mine. Fiber Pops, the near award winner. Fiber optics, fiber. And Bill, he's part fiber. For me, I just go with these all-brand yogurt bites. Crunchy flakes with yogurty clusters. Wish I had the patent on these little guys. And with 3 times as much fiber as the leading supplement, I mean, if everyone tried these for a couple weeks, what would they need me for?
Get me a lawyer.
My interview is on Wednesday. I haven't even gotten the job yet.
You will. Once Patty meets you, there's no turning back. She'll see what I see, and she'll own you.
Patty! If you were a man, I'd kick the living crap out of you.
If you were a man, I'd be worried.
You're home away from home.
Piece of advice.
Don't bring anything you can't carry out in one trip when she fires you. I'm kidding. Sort of.
Arthur Frobisher will stop at nothing to preserve his fortune.
Patty Hughes has a new associate.
Whatever it takes, fix this.
We are engaged in battle.
I know I sound paranoid.
It's time to make the call, Red.
Get out of the car!
Just keep her out of this!
I've always assumed that I'll die violently.
Take a look at this. A man hanging onto a tree branch to save his life. Heavy downpours in Bettendorf, Iowa, making Duck Creek very dangerous this holiday week. People were warned no boating or swimming, but one family didn't listen. Tom Liss and his son Duncan were tossed out of their canoe by a strong current. Duncan was able to get out of the water, but Dad had to hang on until firefighters showed up. Both are expected to be fine. List says he is happy they were wearing life jackets at the time. Trouble at the National Hurricane Center. Close to half of its 50 or so employees say their boss, Bill Proenza, should be fired, saying his actions have damaged confidence in their ability to forecast storms and therefore help save lives. Proenza has publicly criticized the government for failing to provide enough funding, particularly to replace an aging weather satellite. He says the disagreements can be resolved and that he will not resign, though his own assistant is calling for his removal. Going green is causing trouble, at least in one town in New Jersey. A man, with the local government's permission, built a windmill in his backyard to help him out with his electricity bill. It worked until his neighbors started lodging all sorts of complaints. A Fox report now from Todd Connor.
The stiff breeze blowing off the Atlantic into this tranquil New Jersey shore town has pitted neighbor against neighbor. The controversy over an effort to go green has even left officials here a little red-faced. At issue is this wind turbine, which once supplied Mike Mercurio with 25% of his power and enough juice to run his electric car.
I have the right to that wind resource on my property, and it's denying me that resource.
The Long Beach Township Building Department initially granted Mercurio a permit, but subsequently rescinded it, blaming a junior employee for making a bad decision.
The township is not perfect. Townships make mistakes. Individuals make mistakes.
The decision to pull the permit came after neighbors sued the city and Mercurio, alleging his 40-foot turbine violated zoning codes. It also goes against the manufacturer's guidelines.
The manufacturer of this windmill recommended that it be on lots no less than a half an acre in size.
The neighbors contend in their lawsuit the wind turbine casts strobe-like shadows on their property, causes traffic congestion, and its noise disturbs their reading, eating, watching television, and general relaxation. A bunch of hot air as far as Mercurio is concerned.
I sleep underneath that wind turbine. It is 3 feet from my house.
Since the three sides went to court, the township proposed an all-out ban on wind turbines. But after an outcry from supporters of wind energy, the town has also agreed to consider regulating them to make everyone happy. A task that certainly won't be a breeze. On Long Beach Island, New Jersey, Todd Connor, Fox News.
From America's leading news network, this is the Fox Report. It's the bottom of the hour. Time for the top of the news. One of the British bomb plot suspects is set to appear in court Saturday. A police spokeswoman says Dr. Bilal Abdullah was charged with conspiring to cause explosions. Investigators say he was a passenger in the flaming Jeep that smashed into the main terminal at Glasgow Airport last weekend. Waiting for relief from the heat wave out west. At least Las Vegas should catch a break over the weekend, with the mercury falling all the way down to 108 from highs of around 115. Investigators now say the man who opened fire in the New York casino overnight in Vegas was emotionally distraught. 4 people were slightly wounded before a couple of off-duty military reservists took the guy down. He says Iran is taking free shots at the United States, and it's time to put a little fear into Tehran. Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman writing an op-ed today in the Wall Street Journal saying the Iranians have been helping extremists who are killing our troops and our allies. And while Lieberman says no one wants a fight with Iran, now may be the time to take action. Jennifer Griffin with the news tonight at the Pentagon. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Laurie. Well, it's not the first time that Senator Joe Lieberman has called on the U.S. to confront Iran. But today, in a pointed op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal, he accused Iran of having launched an undeclared war against the U.S. using proxy fighters in Iraq. He said Iran is training groups of Iraqi fighters, up to 60 insurgents at a time, at 3 bases outside Tehran, is sending $3 million a month to Shia insurgents, and is responsible for the deaths of 170 U.S. soldiers. Iran's purpose in sponsoring attacks on American soldiers, after all, is clear, Lieberman writes. It hopes to push the U.S. out of Iraq and Afghanistan so that its proxies can then dominate these states. Tehran knows that an American retreat under fire would send an unmistakable message throughout the region that Iran is on the rise and America is on the run. That, Lieberman concludes, would be a disaster for the region and the U.S. Fox News revealed on Monday the first satellite photos of one of the Iranian training camps in the northern suburbs of Tehran, the Imam Ali base near the Shah's former summer palace. Today, another U.S. general in Iraq said his troops had found 4 large weapons caches from Iran in the last 3 months.
Whereas we worked our way through those caches, we found Iranian munitions. We found Iranian rockets, we found Iranian mortars, clearly marked with Iranian markings, and that is just unacceptable.
Senator Lieberman said that he hopes these recent revelations about Iranian intentions and what they've been up to will temper the enthusiasm of those in Congress when they return next week of calling for an immediate pullout from Iraq. Laurie?
Jennifer, before I let you go, let's turn to North Korea for just a moment. What are you hearing about a new round of missile tests there?
Well, there was a round of missile tests on June 27th. Those were downplayed at the time by the Pentagon as routine. But the top Pentagon official for the last 5 years for Asia Affairs, who was leaving the building today, told reporters that he is concerned that North Korea is about to deploy a new, very accurate short-range missile. And we found out that on June 27th, in fact, that short-range missile, a KN-02 or Toxa missile, was in fact fact tested. It is more accurate than a Scud missile. It can fly about 125 kilometers at 75 miles. And Pentagon officials, White House officials, very concerned that the North Koreans might marry this missile up with its nuclear program. Lori?
Frightening. Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon, thanks very much. A win for the White House on the president's 61st birthday, no less, as a federal court dismisses a ruling that the president's warrantless wiretapping program is unconstitutional. Needless to say, the decision has stirred up folks on both sides of the wiretap program, opening up a debate on a big legal and political battle. Wendell Goller live tonight on the North Lawn of the White House. Hey, Wendell.
Lori, the appeals court didn't actually rule on the legality of the wiretaps. It ruled on the people who challenged them. The judges said the lawyers and journalists and others who'd argued they'd be most likely to be spied on failed to prove they actually were.
They basically said that the notion that private individuals who, quote, suspect or may feel that they might be subject to this surveillance and spin these arcane arguments that their constitutional rights have been somehow abridged have absolutely no standing.
The American Civil Liberties Union said as a result of today's decision, the Bush administration has been left free to violate the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which Congress adopted 30 years ago to prevent the executive branch from engaging in precisely this kind of unchecked surveillance. The wiretaps were begun in response to the 9/11 attacks. The target was international phone calls made to or received from suspected al-Qaeda members. And when the program was revealed last year, the president bitterly complained.
Every time sensitive intelligence is leaked, it hurts our ability to defeat this enemy.
Mr. Bush argued there wasn't always time to get a wiretapping warrant. What he didn't say was that the FISA court was working out ways to speed the process, and in January of this year, the White House announced the warrantless wiretaps were ending. Today's ruling could allow the administration to resume the warrantless wiretaps, and the ACLU says there'd be virtually no way to challenge the decision. Lori?
Wendell Goller at the White House. Thanks, Wendell. In Pakistan today, shots fired at an airplane carrying the country's president. One top security official reportedly calling it a failed assassination attempt. It happened after Pervez Musharraf's plane took off from a military base. Security officials say they quickly surrounded the home from where the shots were fired and found 2 anti-aircraft guns, along with a machine gun on the roof. The house is located just under the flight path of the airbase. New video out of Iraq today of the U.S. military blowing up 3 suspected al-Qaeda safe houses. Take a look at the Pentagon tape of the airstrike. The military says 2 of the houses were filled with weapons and explosives, along with some cameras and CDs, which suggested that it may have been some sort of propaganda publishing house. Officers say the 3rd house was booby-trapped, and that's why they decided to destroy all 3 buildings. It has certainly been the subject of debate now for some time, when to bring home our troops from Iraq. Now, one United States commander says there's a good reason not to act too quickly. Major General Rick Lynch saying if we start reducing troop numbers too soon, it would leave the country, quote, a mess, and would just help the enemy gain more ground. But some lawmakers still say enough is enough, and more Republicans are starting to rebel against the White House line. Among them, New Mexico Senator Pete Domenici. His basic argument, if the Iraq government won't pull its weight, why should we? Major Garrett with the news tonight live in our Washington bureau. Hey, Major.
Hey, Lori. Republicans are breaking ranks, but only so far. Some now doubt the troop surge will work, and whether it works or not are angrily demanding that the Iraqi politicians do more to rescue their war-ravaged country. But that doesn't mean these new Republican skeptics will vote with Democrats to cut funds or end the war this year. Analysts say that is the real story.
The Democrats will not have a veto-proof majority this fall to create legislation on their own, and therefore they will have to compromise with the president, and therefore we will probably see a continuation of policy through the fall and winter that looks not too different from what we have right now.
At a briefing today in Iraq, Major General Rick Lynch, as you indicated, Lori, was asked what effect troop withdrawals this fall would have on combat operations. His answer, militarily blunt.
Be a mess. Those surge forces are giving us the capability we have now to take the fight to the enemy. And the enemy only responds to force, and we now have that force.
Once reliable allies like Pete Domenici of New Mexico no longer back the troop surge, defying White House pleas for more time.
I'm unwilling to continue our current strategy when the Iraqi government fails to advance the interests of the Iraqi people on or even make modest progress towards self-sufficiency.
In the end, skeptical Republicans like Domenici will vote for more diplomacy and fewer troops next year. Democrats say it's not much, but they consider it a start. Lori, back to you in New York.
All right, Major Garrett, thank you. A tech check for what's inside. Remember this? The day after the iPhone went on sale, we showed you this video of a guy smashing one of these $600 devices to find out how the thing works exactly. Turns out a lot of people wanted to see that. 1 week after it was posted on YouTube, the website reports it's been viewed almost 400,000 times. Well, Microsoft has a $1 billion bug to fix. The company has to repair a glitch with its Xbox 360 units. It's a hardware failure that can cause the video game console to crash. Gamers call it the red ring of death because the crash is usually indicated by 3 flashing red lights on the front of the box. Microsoft has sold more than 11 million of the game consoles. The company says it's planning to spend at least $1 billion on repairs and shipping. Burger King, the latest to jump on the bandwagon of restaurants that are removing trans fat from their menus. The world's second largest hamburger chain says it will be using trans fat-free cooking oil at all of its American restaurants by the end of next year. Burger King says several hundred of its more than 7,000 U.S. outlets have already eliminated the use of trans fat oil. His son's arrest was a tough break for Al Gore, but a lucky one for some gamblers. How the bust paid off big. Next.
That ought to do it.
Assuming you've done enough for retirement doesn't make much sense either. That's why you should invest with Edward Jones to make sure you're on the right track. Because 2 out of 3 Americans are unprepared for retirement. Don't be one of them. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Can I help you?
I'm interested in getting one. Sorry. Hi, honey. How much are they there? These are really quiet, I think. So, sorry. Excuse me. How much are they there? Shut up. Billy. Yes, how much is it there?
At Lowe's, you'll always get the best price around with our everyday low price guarantee.
I'll take them.
Find a better price on anything we sell, and we'll match it plus take an additional 10% off.
How much is it there? Trust me, just buy it. Thanks.
Lowe's, let's build something together. Use your Lowe's consumer card and pay nothing for 12 months on any purchase of $299 or more.
You know those rating icons you see on TV? There's one made for everybody. They work with your television's parental controls to give you control over which programs your family enjoys. So you can choose between watching TVMA, which is perfect for grown-ups, to watching TVG, which is also perfect for grown-ups. For more information on TV ratings and the V-chip, visit this website or call the number on your screen.
Banned by PBS, a riveting documentary about moderate Muslims fighting jihadists who want us dead. Was it liberal bias? Now, we air the story that PBS tried to kill. E.D. Hill hosts Banned by PBS, Muslims Against Jihad.
Vanished without a trace, a missing daughter, the desperate search, the police investigation, and the race against time to find all the clues. Guilfoyle takes you inside the Kelly Nolan case. Don't miss this special edition of The Lineup starting at 9:30.
When Al Gore's son was arrested on speeding and drug charges earlier this week, it was bad news for both of them. But great news for dozens of gamblers. An Irish bookmaker took bets on which American celebrity would be arrested next. Well, one of those celebrities was Al Gore. Trouble is, the company didn't specify Al Gore II, who is the former vice president, of course. So when Al Gore III was arrested, the bookmaker was forced to make good on those bets. He had to pay 50 people a total of more than $13,000. Al Gore was a 14-to-1 long shot to be the next celebrity arrested. The favorite? Paris Hilton, of course. Al Gore Sr. inspired the Live Earth concert series set to take place tomorrow. Cities all around the world are now carrying out final preparations for the big event. 8 concerts are set to take place simultaneously in an effort to raise awareness of global warming and the international climate crisis. Acts include Madonna, Metallica, and my favorite, The Police. Locations include London, Johannesburg, and Shanghai. Here in the U.S., the show is taking place at Giant Stadium in New Jersey. It's a way for folks who left their homes behind for the sake of freedom to see exactly what happened to their property. A website run by NASA and a Florida university allowing Cuban exiles now in the U.S. to take a look at who's on their land and who's in their homes. Orlando Salinas is live for us tonight in Miami. Hi, Orlando.
Hey, Lori, it is the best way to see Havana, Cuba up close and personal. It is a website. It's called Terrafly.com, created back in 2001 between Florida International University and NASA. A great way for folks via the internet to see a good chunk of Havana through satellite and ground level photographs. It is the first time this has been done. Terrafly says it's mapping out as many streets and buildings as possible so the world can see the real island. But one reclamation company here in Miami says Terrafly is great for Cuban exiles to see what's happened to their own properties. Since Fidel Castro took power back in '59, nearly 1 million people have escaped. Many came to South Florida. The choice was leave with your freedom, but leave your property behind. In many cases, squatters have taken over those properties, or Communist Party members have taken control. Either way, it is a loss. The pictures on the site were taken by Cuban Americans visiting their families. They secretly shot these pics. They were using digital cameras that also record the longitude and the latitude of that specific area. The pics were handed over to Terrafly, who posted them. The satellite images are exclusive to Terrafly through the U.S. Geological Survey, again, because FIU is working with NASA. Terrafly says it wants to put up a live webcam somewhere in Havana, but don't count on that happening anytime soon. The Cuban government does not like that site at all. Lori?
Understandably, I suppose. Not surprisingly, rather. Orlando, thank you. China, a 5-story movie theater in Hunan province going up in flames. The fire said to be so intense, firefighters never had a chance to enter the building. 1 person killed, 2 others injured. The fire reportedly caused by an electrical problem on the outside of the building. The Philippines, a left-wing protest heading for the presidential palace in Manila and running into riot police. The student demonstrators complaining about the nation's anti-terrorism law that goes into effect this month. They say it will encourage state terrorism. Japan, more than 14 inches of rain on the island of Kyushu, causing widespread flooding and landslides. Emergency workers urging 1,200 people to evacuate their homes. Only 1 person reportedly injured. A woman in her 80s who suffered a broken leg after a landslide hit her house. China. Veterinarians at a breeding center knew the giant panda Shuqing was pregnant, but they were taken by surprise when she had twins. One is male, but the staff hasn't been able to examine the other one yet. Shuqing won't let them near the cub. The center's director says mother and babies are all well. And that's a wrap on this Fox trip around the world in 80 seconds. They don't seem all that threatening to look at, but folks in one California city say these beavers are causing serious trouble. And now the city's bringing in the big guns.
We balance the protection of our community with the protection of the environment.
There has to be a better way than just to say there's a beaver, let's kill it.
So are contract killers really the best way to cut the beaver population? We'll report so you can decide. Coming up next.
Here's a radically simple suggestion from eLoan. If you're not getting the interest rate you deserve from your savings account, just go to eLoan.com for information on our high-yield, no-fee savings account. That's eLoan.com. eLoan. Radically simple.
Oh, man.
Are you sure?
Would you like to be a Publishers Clearinghouse winner tomorrow? You can if you go to PCH.com right now. Enter today, win tomorrow.
I don't believe it either.
Our next $10 million winner could be you.
Why would a guy want to be a cop down here? Pay sucks. Crime is off the charts, man. He got to be half a nut job.
Call me nut job.
2 unlikely heroes will have to overcome their past.
I promised myself that if you get a second chance, that you're changing your life.
To save the city's future.
I wish you would stop calling this home.
It will be if we fight for it. Anthony Anderson and Cole Hauser. K-Ville, coming Fox Fall. The
Ultimate Fighting Championship returns to Sacramento with UFC 73 Stag. The Huntington Beach bad boy Tito Ortiz will take on the undefeated 50-0 Rashad Evans. The world middleweight champion Anderson Spider Silva will battle Nate Marquardt for the title. Also, UFC World Lightweight Champion Sean Shirk will go to war with Hermes Franca. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 73 Stacked. Live Saturday, July 7th from Arco Arena in Sacramento, California on DirecTV pay-per-view.
Dedicated, courageous, tenacious, warriors of a different sort, preparing for their moment of glory. NFL Sunday Ticket from DirecTV. Up to 14 games a week during the regular season. For the true football fan, this is where all the magic happens. For the most NFL action anywhere, sign up now and get $20 off the regular price. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS now.
Bring your baseball team home all season long with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV. Whether you're a Chicago fan living in the East or a New York fan living out West, catch your favorite team no matter where you live with up to 60 out-of-market games a week. Non-stop baseball action you don't want to miss. And new on-screen scores and stats. Make every game a home game with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV. 4 payments of $49.99.
Last summer, Bernard Hopkins shocked Antonio Tarver and the world.
And new light heavyweight champion of the world!
After Winky Wright dominated Felix Trinidad, he exploded on Jermaine Taylor.
Now Winky lets his hands go again.
Both men rule the ring. Hopkins is bigger, stronger. Wright is quicker, tougher. Both men are armed and coming to fight Saturday, July 21st, live on DirecTV pay-per-view. Don't miss it. Live on DirecTV pay-per-view, channel 123.
They are cute, they are hardworking, and they have a price on their furry little heads. Tonight, one city is bringing in hired guns to cut down its beaver population. The city says it has to use hitmen because the beavers are simply causing too much trouble. But critics say there has got to be a better way. Claudia Cowan reports, you decide.
Marshes throughout Elk Grove, California provide beautiful natural vistas for scores of new homes that make this Sacramento suburb one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. But there's trouble in these urban oases because of other homes being built by beavers.
They are damming our storm drainage facilities, which have been built to protect our citizens for safety and flood protection.
An overpopulation of beavers like these have been blocking floodwater basins and chewing down trees all over town, raising water levels in areas that should be dry in July. 7 months ago, the city tore down a dam at this location, but the beavers didn't give up.
And it's actually been here for probably 6 months. It wasn't out long before they rebuilt it.
The city says it can't simply relocate the animals because it has no better place to put them unless drastic measures have failed. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture was hired to trap the beavers and shoot them.
In the last 6 months, we have removed 51, which is an indication of how overpopulated we are with beavers.
There has to be a better way than just to say there's a beaver, let's kill it.
Longtime residents Tom and Sandy Russell say dams built by their local beavers haven't caused any flood damage. They support non-lethal measures like wire mesh to protect trees and culverts to block the beavers. But the city says killing is the most efficient and humane alternative.
We balance the protection of our community with the protection of the environment. Once the overpopulation is under control, we will look at less aggressive approaches.
City officials acknowledge that killing wildlife and destroying natural habitats poses a PR problem, especially during the summer when there's little chance for flooding. But they're confident that when the rains arrive in the fall, most residents will be grateful that the beavers and their dams will be gone. In Elk Grove, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
They're not even old enough to drive, but that's not stopping these two teenagers from bagging the big celebs, pint-sized paparazzis. That's next.
With Fidelity, it's easy to set up automatic trades, so you can be trading all the time. Even if you can't be trading all the time. Fidelity's got advanced order trading that lets you trade automatically. What's your online broker got?
Hello?
Fidelity. Smart move.
I want a refrigerator that's energy efficient, even when we're not.
I want it to clean and sanitize.
I want a dishwasher that gets my dishes clean. Really, really clean.
I want to help. Introducing Appliance Specialist at Best Buy. With extensive training on every appliance and the latest features, they can help you find just what you want. Right now, get 10% off all major appliances at Best Buy.
Welcome to the whole grain nation.
Now millions of people know where to find whole grain.
Whole grain. That's a great idea.
Only General Mills gives you whole grain in all your favorite cereals, guaranteed.
It's good for my heart.
It's good for my weight. I feel good about giving this to my family.
Just look for the G on any General Mills cereal.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Total.
Lucky Charms.
Great taste with whole grain in every bowl.
It's that easy.
What about your family? Are you part of the whole grain nation?
Just look for the G, and you're there.
A new political stage is set. Winds of change in Washington. Election 2008 nears. And the stakes are getting higher. Now more than ever, you need the Weekly Standard. The most important conservative magazine in the country. Exceedingly influential. With the Democrats in control on the Hill, are your taxes going up? Will the economy stay afloat? As battles rage in Washington and in the war on terror, the Weekly Standard is your trusted source to sort it all out. Editors Bill Crystal and Fred Barnes bring the best and brightest writers together, delivering stories that shape the news, not follow it. Now, through this offer, you can get 24 issues for just $29.99. And when you order, you'll also receive a Weekly Standard canvas tote bag free. Call 1-800-828-3600 now to get 24 issues for just $29.99 and your free tote bag. 1-800-828-3600. Order now.
It's been said time and again that children seem to be growing up faster than ever these days, but we haven't seen too many of them joining the ranks of the paparazzi until now. A Fox report from Mark Thompson of our affiliate KTTV Fox 11 in Los Angeles.
During the day, they're like any other kids, playing ball and hanging out at the park. But at night, they are pint-sized paparazzi. How old are you, man? 14. 14-year-old Austin and 15-year-old Blaine could be the youngest paparazzi on the planet. Who do you still want pictures of?
Paris Hilton, Britney Spears.
Yeah, Jessica Simpson, Ashley Simpson, the big hitters.
These longtime friends with a love for the lens have spent the summer as shutterbugs, learning a lot along the way. First rule, says Austin, stars rarely arrive in limos. Now here's a limo pulling up now.
There's nobody ever in a limo.
TCP's not the big shot.
There's nobody ever in a limo.
It'll be a bunch of, it'll be like a family or just like somebody who wants to show off to their girlfriend.
Rule number 2, you can't play the game if you don't know where the players are.
You give some money on your card and you hand it off to the valet and you go, call me if you see any movie stars, celebrities, anything. And then they'll call you.
Or you make friends with the celebrity's publicist or the celebrity themselves.
But getting to them isn't always easy. Remember, these guys are too young to drive.
We get around skateboards,
bicycles, scooters,
and the occasional cab. Their parents will even give them a lift from time to time, but they do have a curfew.
10 o'clock.
Alone, 10 o'clock.
They may be friends and they may shoot together, but they aren't in business together. Blaine runs pintsizepaparazzi.com. Austin is launching Austin's Eye. 2 young entrepreneurs. What do their parents think?
I think it's fantastic what he's doing. It's a very entrepreneurial and independently spirited thing to do.
Not the most traditional summer job, but then again, this is Hollywood.
That's Mark Thompson reporting. By the way, the boys in the story say that if they're covering an A-list star like Paris, their parents will extend their curfew time by 15 minutes or so. And on this day in 1957, a chance meeting that would change the world. 15-year-old Paul McCartney meets 16-year-old John Lennon at a church picnic near Liverpool. Lennon was playing the picnic in a band named the Quarrymen. Between sets, Paul plucked out a few tunes for John, and just a few days later, he was invited to join the band. Soon the Quarrymen became the Silver Beatles, then, of course, just the Beatles, along with George Harrison and Ringo Starr. The Fab Four went on to score more #1 hits than any other group in history. Imagine the possibilities 50 years ago today. And now you know the news of Friday, July 6th, 2007. I'm Lori Dew in for Shepard Smith. Thank you so much for having us in